Welcome back. So in this episode I'm going to be installing the solar panels and the roof deck. If you haven't seen the video already how I designed the layout of the roof, click above to watch it. But basically I've designed it with a skinny panel and two large panels down one side, a vent in the middle, a rooftop sun deck down the right hand side, which will also allow us to hold long surfboards. So the first thing I've done is taken down the roof rack off the van for two reasons. One, the roof of the van is extremely dirty. I've been parking under a gum tree and it's just been dropping all this gum and sap on top, so it's super dark and black. I'm gonna have to scrub it and polish it. And the other reason is it's just a lot easier to do it on the ground. Getting up on this ladder and this van being so high is just super sketchy. So I'd rather just do it on the ground. Okay, the first thing I'll talk about is my solar setup. So I've got two 150 watt solar panels and a 100 watt solar panel at the end. The reason why I put a skinny one at the end is because my vent sits here and I couldn't fit another big one all the way across. So the way I'm going to do it is I've just made these little aluminium right angle brackets, and I'm going to secure that to the frame and secure it to the solar panel. And I'll probably put a little bit of rubber underneath to stop it from vibrating. And then I'm going to try and actually join the two solar panels with a screw between them. Okay, so what I've done is I've just linked my solar panels together with bolting them. And that's just because where I'm joining them together, it's not going to be sitting on a strut, because I didn't design my roof rack for the solar panels. I couldn't find the solar panels I wanted when I built the roof rack. So what I've done is I've just drilled holes between these and then put some couple of nuts in there. These actually are a little bit hollow inside, so I'm not going to tighten them up. It's really just to stop it from bending and stuff when there's a little bit of a gap here. So I will put a split washer and Loctite on this. The nut doesn't actually come undone. What I thought I'd do now is, while they're on the ground and it is probably one of the hottest, sunniest days of the year so far, I'll test what I'm getting out of these solar panels. So these two were like cheap eBay ones, the other ones are Renogy, so I'm a little bit skeptical what these guys are actually going to produce for me. I will hook it up to a multimeter and see what I get. So I've got this hooked in series, so the negative, positive, and I'm getting 7 amps. So let's see how much voltage I get. Okay, I'm getting about 65 volts, so I'll do the maths and come back. Okay, so I've just done the calculations. It works out to be 455 watts at 7 amps and 65 volts. So I'm pretty happy with that. These two cheap ones seem to be putting out about 170 watts each, 177 watts, and the front one's 100 watts, so that's what it's rated to. So all in all, I'm pretty happy that it's going to be more than enough for what we're going to be using it for. Okay, so I've just joined the 3 panels together, and now I'm going to fix them to the roof rack frame. So you can see how I've attached the angle to the solar panel here. It's just a little 2.5 by 2.5 centimeter angle I made up, and just put 2 stainless steel pop rivets in there. And now I'm going to attach it to the frame with self-tapping stainless steel screws. What I'm using to stop vibrations on the frame to the solar panels is I've got this 1mm rubber matting that I've just cut into little strips, and I'm placing it underneath the solar panels on the cross members, and it sits like that. And then what that does, that actually raises this by a little gap, because I've made this flush with this. So when I put the rubber gasket up, it lifts this up a tiny bit, which is what I want, because then when I screw it down, it can pull it down into the frame, making a nice tight strong bond between the frame and the solar panels, and also getting that nice shock absorption so the frames won't rattle around and the bolts hopefully won't be coming loose either. At the front, I've got it there, and then all the cross members, I've got little angles on all the cross members, and then all the way down here as well. So I thought I would explain how we've set up our solar panel system. Because I'm installing my solar panels in series, I'm going to install a inline fuse to protect each solar panel individually. I then used a 3-way connector to join all the negative and positive terminals together, and then ran it into the van with a solar housing to the charge controller, with an inline fuse and cutoff switch. The solar charger that I've chosen is also a DC to DC charger, so it accepts the alternator power as well, and then sends both the alternator and solar power to the house battery. From there it gets distributed to where it's netted to our DC and AC loads, so we can run our fridge, fan, lights, and 240 volt AC loads. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a full detailed description of our whole electrical system. So the next exciting project for the roof rack is going to be the rooftop deck. So I've got some treated pine decking. So it's 19mm high by 90mm wide, and it's actually pretty light. I worked out the weight that this is actually going to be on the roof is around about 30 kilos with what I'm going to be using. So that's how I'm justifying that it's actually not going to add too much weight to the roof. So this is going to be really cool. We're going to stain it, put it up on the roof, and it's going to look awesome. So to finish the treated pine deck, we're going to be using this Aqua Deck water-based deck sealant and stain. Bendy's going to be doing that job. What are you doing?
I'm filming you. How are you filming?
You're filming me, filming you, filming me?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So get painting, huh?
Almost there.
Wow, I just got really lucky. I'm up here screwing in the deck, and I had a GoPro set up on the time lapse, and the rattling of the screwing just kind of collapsed it a little bit, and it just got caught on the roof rack. So because I am screwing into aluminium kind of joists, which are my roof rack cross members, I want to pre-drill my screws. I'm using these stainless steel little self-tapping deck screws, but because I want to self-drill my screw, I bought this super handy little thing, a pre-driller and a countersinker for decking, and they drill the perfect size countersunk for the screw, but they also pre-drill and you can set the depth of it. So it's really, really handy for doing like 100 of these holes that I'm about to do on the deck. You get to see that is like a nice, perfect flush, no cracking, no splitting, super easy. So I marked out where all my other holes are going to go down here. So now I just pre-drill all of them, come back with a vacuum cleaner so I don't get aluminium going everywhere, and then I go screw them in with little stainless steel square heads. So the other thing I did to make this deck a lot easier to put up is to cut out a couple of these spaces. So I worked out with how many boards I'm going to put up, the space that I'm going to have required, and divided that by how many spaces I'll have to get an even number. Worked out to be a nice even 15mm, so I just cut up some 15mm ply, and I'm going to slot that in all the little gaps before I screw it all in, so I know all my gaps are nice and even and uniform, and it looks really nice and professional, I suppose. Okay, so the last thing I've done to finish off the actual deck is I've installed these little galvanized steel tie-down cleats. So now we can actually attach stuff to the roof, and I've bolted them into the aluminium frame. It's not just screwed into the wood because that's not a good idea, especially if it's going to be under load when you're driving. So I've used these quite long stainless steel screws, bolted them with lock nuts underneath, so these aren't going anywhere. A lot of people I made about the roof rack video were asking me about how I was covering up the ends of the roof racks. And what I've done is I've bought these little end caps. So you can buy the specific size of end caps and then they just push nice and neatly into these ends. There is one more thing I've put on this roof rack to make it super badass. This is a 52-inch aluminium LED light bar, about as big as I could fit on the roof, and it's capable of making the night roads light up like daylight. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope you got some use out of it. I really enjoyed making this rooftop deck and the ladder. I think we're going to get a lot of use out of this rooftop deck. You can see it's a nice sunny day here. We're just going to have a lie, maybe go for a surf later. So until next time, I'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, remember to hit the thumbs up below and subscribe to see more videos like this.